welcome to my first ever mystery box challenge. This week I've teamed up with the guys over at Mezzetta and they sent me 3 ingredients that I have to work into a recipe. When I opened my box, I was a little bit stumped. I ended up with some extra virgin olive oil, I got some red hot chili pepper everything paste, and I got some maraschino cherries with stems. Now the cherries are a no-brainer, but the other 2, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with them, so I put it out to you guys on the MyCupcakeAddiction Instagram, and I got so many amazing suggestions. You guys are so creative. So today I'm going to be making kind of a bit of a mashup of my favorite suggestions, and we're going to be making some molten chocolate chili cherry lava cakes. Let's get started. So some of these ingredients are specific to Mezzetta, so I'm going to link to the Mezzetta website down below, but I've got my maraschino cherries with stems, my red hot chili everything paste, and my extra virgin olive oil. There's a few components to today's recipe, so we're going to make some frosting using some butter, some powdered sugar, and a little bit of either cherry essence or vanilla essence. We're going to make a choc chili ganache using some powdered chili, dark chocolate, and some whipping cream, as well as, of course, our red hot chili everything paste. For your base cupcakes, I've got some butter, sugar, and an egg, some cocoa, and some flour, as well as some water. Now, I always add some olive oil to my mixture. It just really helps lock in moisture. For decoration today, I've got a star piping tip and a small circle cutter. You're also going to need a strainer or a sieve. I've got a Ziploc bag, a disposable piping bag, a plain napkin, and of course a cupcake tray with some cupcake liners. All of your measurements and quantities can be found in the description box below this video. Before we start cooking, you just want to start getting rid of some of the juices on your decoration cherries. So pull out your 6 best stemmed maraschino cherries and just pop them onto that absorbent paper towel. Now I've had some requests from you guys for some small batch recipes, so this particular recipe only makes 6 cupcakes, but of course you can double it or triple it for however many you need. One of the things I love about this recipe is the simplicity. There's no creaming, there's no folding. You just pop all of your ingredients straight into a mixer. It doesn't matter if you're using a paddle or a whisk here, you dump them all in, start your mixer on a low speed, and then turn it up until the mixture lightens. It's almost foolproof. In goes our magic ingredient. It was actually my dad that told me years ago to always put some olive oil in with my cupcakes because it really does help lock in that moisture and it keeps them moister for longer. I think some of the best tips in the world are those that we pass down through family. So if you guys have got any hints and tips for quirky or weird ingredients that you use in your baked goods, I would love to hear about them in the comments. Line your cupcake tin with just 6 liners. Make sure that you've scraped down the bowl and you'll know your mixture's done when it kind of resembles a chocolate mousse. So it should be light and fluffy, and you can see here it's really not runny, it's quite scoopable. I'm going to pop those 6 off into a moderate oven and they're going to take about 15 minutes to bake, but you'll know they're done when they spring back in the middle. Now it's on to our choc chili molten lava center. So take your dark chocolate, pour it into a bowl and pour your thickened cream or your whipping cream over. Pop it in the microwave for 1-minute intervals and stir it really well in between. It should only take about 2 minutes, 3 at the very most, and you'll need lots of stirring to make sure it's got no lumps or bumps. So rather than just a powdered chili today, I'm going to use the red hot chili pepper everything spread, and I love this because it adds an element of sweetness to the ganache. I will say, depending on the spice you like, I recommend 3 teaspoons for this size recipe. If you like your ganache a little bit spicier, don't try to add more of the chili pepper paste because you're going to add too much sweetness. So add in just the recommended amount and then use the chili powder to adjust your spice. Once you've stirred that through, let it sit for about 10 minutes for that chili to really infuse, and then you just want to strain it through your strainer to get rid of any lumps and bumps. Perfect, there's your ganache ready to go. Wait for that to cool down a little bit. It's not going to set completely firm, but you don't want it to be too hot to touch or you're going to burn your hands. Cover it with a bit of plastic wrap. While that one's cooling on the bench, we're going to make our frosting. So just take some of your butter, and that should be softened, room temperature, or soft but not melted. Pop it into the mixer. You want to add in your cherry essence, and I'm using a cherry essence here because it's going to be a little bit more tart than those maraschino cherries, and it's just going to add a little bit of tart in amongst the sweetness of that ganache and that chocolate cupcake, kind of balancing the flavors. Beat that butter and essence for a full 5 minutes. This forms the base of a really nice light fluffy frosting. When your butter's thoroughly whipped, you just want to add in about 1/3 of that powdered sugar. So the key to a really great buttercream frosting is just adding that sugar 1/3 at a time and mixing it really well between each addition for about 3 minutes, and repeat until you've mixed in all of your powdered sugar. When it comes to frosting consistency, you'll always need to just adjust it slightly with milk. So I added about a tablespoon of milk to this amount, but it really depends on your type of ingredients. You're looking for this nice smooth frosting that doesn't fall off the spoon by itself and kind of resembles ice cream to look at. Pop your star piping tip into your piping bag and fill that with your frosting, and you can pop that off to the side until our cupcakes are ready to decorate. You need to make sure that those cupcakes are completely cooled. Once they're ready to frost, you can take your lava filling, pop it into a Ziploc bag. We're going to use that as a bit of a piping bag today. To fill my cupcakes, I just took a little circle cutter, but you can use a cupcake corer or even just a knife here. And I just cored out a nice little center from the cupcake. Don't be tempted to make this too large, or else your cupcakes are going to collapse on themselves under the weight of that frosting. Take one of your maraschino cherries and make sure there's no stem and plop it straight down into that cupcake with a little bit of that syrup if you can. And then you just want to cut a tiny little corner off your Ziploc bag, and you're just going to flood the center with that chopped chili ganache. This packs a pretty powerful punch, so you don't need too much of it, but you do want that satisfying spill effect that a lava cake should have. Once they're full, just gently tap your cupcakes on the bench to allow that ganache to settle. And then you want to take your frosting bag. So make sure you've got a little bit of that frosting squeezing out the end of your piping nozzle, and you need to start around the outside edge. Otherwise you're going to spill that ganache and it's going to look messy. So you kind of want to curl your frosting around the little puddle of ganache before coming up in almost 3 separate swirls to create that really nice sundae style swirl. You've essentially trapped your little pond of ganache inside, so it's not going to make a mess. Now this is going to make a mess. You just want to quickly drizzle some stripes of that ganache across the top for a bit of color and a bit of texture, and then finish it off with one of those maraschino cherries that's been drying on that paper towel. So you shouldn't get any red cherry runoff here. I love to serve these ones with some little spirals of that chopped chili ganache just on the serving plate. It gives you a little bit more of a kick, but it also just looks really pretty and gives the plate a little bit of detail. I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's mystery box recipe brought to you by Mezzetta and my amazing Instagram followers. Thank you all so much for your suggestions. If you want to purchase any of the ingredients that we used in the mystery box today, make sure you check out Mezzetta. They've got lots of holiday inspired fun recipe ideas. I think they've got giveaways going all month and lots of delicious goodies to buy. As always guys, thanks for tuning in to My Cupcake Addiction.